Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Contest Prep University. Joe Klemczewski, Adam Atkinson. Final episode 5 on our series on the 5 worst things you could do on contest day. And we're going to segue a little bit from episode 4 and talk about just forgetting the long game, not for contest day, but keeping it in perspective that this was one contest, win or lose, and you have to start considering now, oh, I have this contest next week or in a month, or am I going to transition into off season? And, I think human beings, mostly, Adam, are pretty resilient. You see athletes who lose the Super Bowl or who, have put everything into an Olympic effort and they don't win. And immediately, right from the ashes of that disappointment, most athletes would say, yeah, I'm going to come back next year even better. I'm going to work even harder. I've learned a lot and I'm grateful for this and thank these people for that. But some of us just don't. Like some of us are just so crushed and we forget that whole long game perspective. So, again, just curious to see how you help manage that even on the forefront with athletes or after the fact.
I think that I always expect a certain behaviors. So a lot of times I'm not managing that ahead of time. I probably need to be a little bit better about it. But I think I do a good job on creating a general idea of what we can expect on show day as far as, placement. I never know who's going to show up, but there is a criteria that we have to follow. So, but sometimes it goes the complete opposite way of how we think it's going to go. And I think it really comes down to managing people immediately after the show. What are their emotions? Are they mad or angry or, happy? You also don't want someone to go online and be too crazy about celebrating and bragging too much, because I've definitely had that before, where people are acting a little wild on Instagram and you just kind of want to tone it down and be humble a little bit. So it's hard because there's a lot of different personalities in the sport. But I think the big thing that I would tell people is make sure no matter win or lose that you don't burn bridges in the sport. And you're really setting an example for yourself and your coach with how you act on and off stage, after a win or a loss.
That is such a perfect comment because promoters, organization executives, judges, other you really want to make friends. It will behoove you to do that. And I've seen athletes at contests throwing trophies backstage, storming off stage, even refusing their award because it wasn't what they thought it should be. Getting online, as you said, and complaining about judges and ripping people apart. And it's like, wow, I don't think anybody ever doesn't regret that. But in that emotional flurry, it happens. And I will say that we learn from that, of course. And some people would say, well, that just kind of reveals your character. That's who you are. But I also think we can learn from that and we can be better and we can prepare ourselves ahead of time by saying, hey, this is just who I am. This is win, lose, or draw, how I behave. And you can start integrating that ahead. And just anything that happens from a perspective of adversity, you see those people who handle it well, and I can guarantee you they've handled it well before and they've learned how to handle it. And that's an important thing to consider.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, you definitely don't want to reach out in anger with the judges, and I've actually had a client do that. And she said, what do you think? And I said, well, I think this just confirms the fact that you're not ready for a professional league yet if you can't act professionally. And she didn't like that. So that kind of ended our relationship.
Well, to wrap up our series on a positive note, think about the times that you do well. Maybe you didn't win, but it was definitely a step of progression in your career. And you can now think of, okay, in this long-term mindset outside of the show, how immediately can I start improving for the next? If the contest is in a couple weeks or you're going to go right into off season, again, keep in mind this long-term data point of one contest in the whole flow of your career. And I think that's a really, really important thing to do on contest day, because that's when the emotion is going to be high. So thanks, Adam. Again, another great series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Let us know, and we'll keep producing some topical content that may help you in your career. We want you to do your best and enjoy the sport. We'll see you next time in Contest Prep University.